What's going on, everybody? Ryan's Baseball Roundup here. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video, but we're back with another video today. And in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to the video I made before the season started, where I predicted every team that was going to win the division. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the like button if you enjoy these type of videos, and let's get straight into Alright, so before I get into the video, I'd like to say if you guys haven't checked out this video, check it out. It's called Predicting Every Division Winner in Baseball this season. I'll put the link in the description to this video in case you guys want to check that one out. But let's get straight into reacting.
Alright, the first division we're going to talk about in today's video is the NL West. And we're going to be going from last place to first place for every division. So last place I got the Colorado Rockies. This one's kind of a no-brainer. They don't really have much pitching other than German Marquez. And then on the offense side, they got Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story. That's about it. And don't be surprised if they trade Trevor Story because I don't think they can afford to re-sign a big extension with him. And I also don't think they're going to obviously be competitive. So don't be surprised if they trade him at the deadline and get a haul of prospects to start their rebuild.
Yeah, this obviously ended up being a bad take because if we go to the standings, the standings say that the Rockies ended up in 4th place, and I said it was a no-brainer, which ended up being wrong. But, I mean, I thought they were going to trade Trevor Story, but, I mean, they should have probably at the deadline, but they obviously didn't end up trading him. I like what they did with Ryan McMahon last year, so far we're 0 for 1.
4th place, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is mainly because I don't really trust their offense. They have Christian Walker, Nick Ahmed. They're okay. So, and then their pitching, Zach Gallen got hurt, and they still have Bumgarner. We'll see if he can have a bounce-back season. 3rd place, we got San Francisco.
I definitely underrated how bad the Diamondbacks would be. I thought Zach Gallen was going to have a way better year than he did. He had a bad year last year, but I still think he has potential to be good in the future. Bumgarner wasn't good, and their offense was bad. Like, their only good hitters were Eduardo Escobar, Ketel Marte. Eduardo Escobar got traded at the trade deadline. Ketel Marte was hurt for most of the year. Carson Kelly was also hurt. So the Diamondbacks were way worse than I expected.
Francisco Giants, my favorite team. This is mainly because they have a loaded lineup, in my opinion. You look at Solano, Yastrzemski, Belt had a career year last year. Dickerson had another good year. Slater had a good year. Their outfield is pretty underrated, in my opinion, when you look at Slater, Dickerson, and Yastrzemski. 2nd place.
It's kind of funny that I said that they had a loaded offense, because pretty much all of the guys I listed, that they had not so good years, but they still ended up having like arguably the best offense in baseball. They hit like way more home runs. I just never saw it coming that they would get first place. I mean, pretty much everyone had the Dodgers getting first place. So I think that like that one, it wasn't a bad prediction at the time, but obviously it didn't end up happening.
We got the San Diego Padres. I think in most divisions in baseball, they would be a first place team. But it's just because when you got the Dodgers in that division, it's really hard to get first. You look at the moves they made in the offseason, adding Mark Melanson, nice move to bolster that bullpen, and then trading for Blake Snell and Yu Darvish, who are both like all-star and sometimes Cy Young caliber pitchers. And then they still got Nelson Lamet. And you look at the lineup, they got Grisham, Machado, Hosmer, Tatis, obviously. Cronenworth had a good year. This team is a really well-balanced team.
Yeah, their pitching really let me down. I overestimated how good Snell and Darvish were going to do, but I think next year when you look at like Mike Clevenger coming back from Tommy John surgery, I expect this team to be good, but it's kind of hard to expect them to be good at the same time because they disappointed me last year. So far, these predictions aren't turning out so well because we've gotten every single one wrong. But I mean, this is what makes baseball kind of an interesting sport because like you can predict one thing and it'll just go the totally opposite way that you thought it would.
And then 1st place, you look at the Dodgers. They already won the World Series last year, and they added on to that with Trevor Bauer. You know this team is scary when Dustin May might not even make the opening day rotation. Their rotation is obviously the best in baseball with Trevor Bauer, Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler. David Price even opted out of the season last year. This is obviously the best team in baseball. The next division we got is the NL Central.
Yeah, just touching on the Dodgers, I think they had a really good year. Obviously, they only lost out on the division by 1 game, so I don't think that prediction was that bad. I think probably the worst prediction I had out of those teams was probably putting the Padres at 2nd, because I should have seen coming that like not all of their pitchers would perform like up to how they had on their previous teams. But now we're gonna move on to the next division.
Place we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates traded away Josh Bell, and pretty much all they have to look forward to, I'm sorry, Pirates fans, is Brian Hayes. I think he's going to do really well this year and possibly even win Rookie of the Year. We'll see. Fourth place.
Yeah, well, I got that one right. I mean, for Brian Hayes, he didn't have as good of a season as I thought, but I think he still has promise. And then the guy that really broke out was Brian Reynolds. He had like a 30 home run season, made the All-Star team. So the Pirates, yeah, they're probably going to be bad for years to come until their prospects come up. But
this is probably going to come as a surprise to most people, but I got the Chicago Cubs. I know they have a loaded lineup, but this is because of their lack of pitching in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. Craig Kimbrell had a down year last year, and when you look at their starting rotation, it's Kyle Hendricks, and then after that, it just kind of falls off. They've re-signed, or they got Jake Arrieta back, but Jake Arrieta is not the pitcher he used to be back when he was originally on the Cubs and won a Cy Young Award. So I gave them fourth because I don't trust their pitching, but obviously their lineup's loaded with Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, and then you also got Ian Happ. So third place.
Yeah, that was actually a really good prediction because if we go to the standings, I think they did end up in fourth place. Yeah, they did. And at the time, I don't think anyone could have saw it coming. They were going to trade all the players that they did end up trading. But so far, we're 2 for 2 in the NL Central.
I got the Cincinnati Reds. This is because I like their 1-2 combo in the starting rotation. Obviously, I really like Luis Castillo. I think he's very underrated. I think he could contend for a Cy Young Award this year. Don't be surprised if he does. Sonny Gray is hurt, but he's going to be ready in a couple weeks into the season. And then most of the guys in their lineup last year had a down year, so I think they'll bounce back. You got Moustakas, Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez, and then, yeah. So then, second place.
Yeah, I think they did. Did they end up getting third place? But like I said, some of the guys that did have down years, they did end up bouncing back. Yeah, they got third place. Like Castellanos and Winker, they just had some monster seasons. But that thing I said about Luis Castillo being a Cy Young Award winner, he had like a better second half, but his first half was just terrible. So that wasn't really a possibility for him.
I gave to the St. Louis Cardinals. They obviously added Nolan Arenado, so you're probably confused why I gave them second. But this is because I don't really like their pitching staff. They got Jack Flaherty, who can be shaky at times, and then falls off after that. But I do like their bullpen with Gallegos and Alex Reyes. And obviously getting Jordan Hicks back, he throws like 103, so that's going to be good for them. First place, I got the Milwaukee Brewers. This is because I feel like they're the most well-balanced team in this division. They obviously have like probably the two best relievers in baseball with Devin Williams and Josh Hader. Last year, Devin Williams had a .33 ERA, which is just insane. And then he won Rookie of the Year also. And then Lorenzo Cain opted out of the season last year, so that kind of hurt them. I think Yelich is going to have another MVP-type season. And then Keston Hiura is going to move to first base, and he just hits bombs. So I like this team to get first place in the NL Central.
This was probably one of my better predictions of the video. I just had a lot of confidence in the Brewers because their bullpen was really good. I think they could have made like a deeper run in the playoffs than getting first rounded like they did by the Braves if Devin Williams hadn't broken his hand at the end of the regular season. So yeah, I just had a lot of confidence in the Brewers, even though a lot of people thought that the Cardinals were going to win because they won the division in 2020. I mean, it was a 60-game season, but then they got Arenado. So a lot of people thought that was a recipe for winning the division next, but that was a good prediction by me.
NL East, I got the Marlins in last place. This is because they're a really young team, and I think they're still developing their players. I really do like Sixto Sanchez, though. I think he's going to be a star in this league at some point. And they obviously did trade for Starling Marte at last trade deadline, who I also like. Fourth place for the NL East.
That was one of the more disappointing signs in 2020 was that Sixto Sanchez didn't get to play at all because I still think he can be a really good pitcher and he has a lot of potential and I still think he's going to be really good next year if he pitches. I mean, Starling Marte, he had a really good year last year too. Got traded to the A's and now he's on the Mets. So Marlins, I got that one right.
I got the Philadelphia Phillies. This is because their pitching kind of falls off after Aaron Nola. I don't really know who you would give the ball to and trust in like a big game for them. And then their bullpen, they did add Archie Bradley, which I like, but I still don't trust Hector Neris very much. And I like their lineup though. They re-signed JT Realmuto, which was a big boost to the lineup. Harper, and then I think Rhys Hoskins. People forget what he did a couple years ago, because last year he had Tommy John surgery, so I think he'll have a good year. I got the Nationals in third place. This is because they have just outstanding rotation. You look at Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin, and then they even added on John Lester, who's just insane as a fourth starter, because on most teams he would be like a 3 or a 2, because most teams don't have good rotations. But when he's your fourth starter, you know you're doing good. And then you got Trey Turner, Juan Soto. I really like this team, even though they're in third place. This is just because this is a very tough division. Second place, this is probably going to come as a surprise. I got the Atlanta Braves. I just feel like...
Yeah, this was probably like my worst prediction of the whole video. I mean, it was bold. I just thought that the Mets pitching, all the pitching they had, it was going to carry them to first place. I mean, it did happen for a while. Like, the first half of the season, the Mets were, like, almost running away with the East, but, like, they just, like, fell off in the second half, which I didn't see coming. I thought since they kept first for so long, they were just going to end up taking it. So, like, I mean, I think that the NL East was probably the hardest division to predict last year, because pretty much all the teams except for the Marlins, you could have made a case that they could have won the East. But, yeah, the Braves were the favorite team, so it doesn't look that good that I predicted the Mets.
They got second because their bullpen is not as good as the New York Mets to me. And I feel like it's going to come down to their bullpen because even though they signed Drew Smyly and Charlie Morton, I feel like the Mets have a really good starting rotation also. But we'll see. So first place, we got the New York Mets. I really like the moves to trade for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. I think that's going to make a big impact on their team, and it's really going to help them out. So I gave them first place. That's probably like my boldest prediction on this video so far. So now we're going to start.
Yeah, I anticipated Lindor having a better year than he did. I thought he was going to have like another one of those like all-star MVP type seasons that he had when he was on the now Guardians. But like I said, that was my boldest prediction of the video.
Start off with the American League teams. First division we got is the AL West. I got the Texas Rangers in fifth place. Texas Rangers fans, you don't really have much to look forward to other than Joey Gallo just absolutely going off this year. Their rotation is just terrible. It's probably like one of the worst in baseball. Their ace is Kyle Gibson, which is not good. Fourth place, we got the Mariners. The Mariners aren't far off from being good. They have a ton of great prospects in the system, like when you look at Taylor Trammell, Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez. I think some of those guys get called up this year, and they have a good season. But I think their team is still very young and still trying to develop talent. So I think that they're just not there yet for me to really get high up in this division.
Yeah, I was right when I said they would be good soon, but I guess I didn't understand how soon because they were like like one game out of making the wild card. So this team definitely surprised me, but I was right when I said that some of the young guys would get called up and make an impact. Because although Jared Kelenic had a slow start, he really made an impact towards like the latter like 1.5 months of the season and like turned it on.
Third place, we got the Los Angeles Angels. We obviously know that their lineup is stacked when you look at Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, Jared Walsh. I still don't trust their pitching staff. I was hoping they were going to sign Trevor Bauer to really make that team a World Series contender, but they're still beyond Dylan Bundy. They don't really have much. Griffin Canning, Patrick Heaney, those pitchers are kind of for me, so they got third. Second place in the AL West, we got the Houston Astros. They have Greinke, Jose Urquidy, so I like their rotation, even though Framber Valdez is going to come back at some point, which I thought that was a big blow, that he had a broken hand in spring training. And then their lineup, they still got all those mainstays from their 2017 World Series team. Obviously, losing George Springer is going to hurt. They still have Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Yuli Gurriel. So I think their offense is still going to hold up. And then first place, I got the Oakland A's. This is because I feel like they're the most well-balanced in this division. When you look at, they got Frankie Montas, Jesus Luzardo, and then in the bullpen they added Sergio Romo. And then in the lineup you got Ramon Laureano, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman. So I like this team all around.
Yeah, I underestimated how good the Astros offense would be, and I also expected a better season out of Matt Chapman. So all in all, those two things combined led to my prediction being wrong about the A's getting first.
Then we're going to start off with the AL Central. Last place, I got the Detroit Tigers. They have a lot of young, good pitchers developing the farm system. I like that they're going to give Casey Mize, who was the former #1 overall pick a couple of years ago, a chance to get in the rotation. I think they're like kind of similar situation with the Mariners, where they just have to wait for their prospects to develop, and they'll be good at some point. Fourth place, we got the Royals.
Yeah, the Tigers also ended up in a similar situation where I thought they were going to be good at some point, but they did better than expected because they weren't as good as the Mariners. They weren't close to making the playoffs, but they definitely exceeded expectations. If we go to the standings, what place did they get? A third. So they were only 3 games worse than the Guardians, which is impressive considering going into the season. They weren't even expected to get third.
The Royals had a sneaky good offseason, adding Carlos Santana, signing Mike Minor. I think they're also a couple years away from being good, with Bobby Witt Jr. just having an amazing spring training. Then you look at they got Whit Merrifield. They gave Salvador Perez a contract extension. Then I think Brady Singer is also going to have a good year. Third place, we got the Cleveland Indians. I think that they're really going to suffer from not having Francisco Lindor anymore in that lineup. It's pretty much like Jose Ramirez is going to have to carry the load on offense, with possibly Franmil Reyes hopefully having a bounce back year after struggling last year. Their pitching is really going to have to carry the squad. When you look at Shane Bieber, their Cy Young Award, and then Tristan McKenzie is hopefully going to have a good year. And then second place, I got...
Yeah, that was a good summary when I said that Franmil Reyes and Jose Ramirez were going to have to carry their offense, because they did carry their offense last year, and they still didn't even sniff the playoffs. Because what really hurt them was Shane Bieber got hurt, Aaron Savali got hurt, so they had... Their strength was pitching going into the season, and by the middle of the season, they had no pitching, and all they had on offense was Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes. So that was the reason why they didn't make the playoffs in the end.
The Minnesota Twins. This is because I feel like the Chicago White Sox are just more loaded than them. The Minnesota Twins, don't get me wrong, they still have a really good team, with re-signing Nelson Cruz as their DH, Max Kepler, Jorge Polanco. Adding Andrelton Simmons is going to help out. I also like their 2 top starters in Jose Barrios and Kenta Maeda. Now, first place is the Chicago White Sox. They were already really good last year, and they added on Lance Lynn, which I think is going to really do wonders for Lucas Giolito, because he's going to have that veteran pitcher to sort of guide him in the way, so I like that. And then you got Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson. Although it's going to hurt them that Eloy Jimenez is out for a couple months, I think 3 or 4 months, with a torn pectoral muscle, which I think that was really going to hurt them. But I still think they'll be able, when he comes back, they'll go on a run, and they'll be able to get first place in that division. Last division.
Yeah, so the Twins were the biggest disappointment out of all of the teams, because I thought that they were going to have a really stacked offense, which they did, but then Byron Buxton got hurt. He was having an electric first month of the year, and after that, Kenta Maeda got hurt, so the injuries just stacked up, and then also some of the guys had disappointing season. At least I still got the White Sox getting first right, because I saw all that youth and talent, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson. I thought that I was going to lead them to first place, which it eventually did.
The division we got is the AL East. The last place team for that division is the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles, their rotation is just not it. I think their best pitcher is John Means, which is not very good. Obviously, I think Ryan Mountcastle is going to have a good year. I hope he does. And then Trey Mancini, hopefully he bounces back after having colon cancer. I really hope he has a good year. Fourth place, we got the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, main issue for me is their rotation, because it was just announced a couple of days ago that Eduardo Rodriguez is not going to be able to pitch on opening day because he has an arm injury. So it's pretty much Nathan Eovaldi right now is their #1 starter, which is obviously not good. Then trading away Andrew Benintendi, losing Jackie Bradley Jr. They're really going to have to lean on their young hitters like Michael Chavis, and obviously Bobby Dahlback had a really good spring training, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had a really good season this year. Third place, they made a lot of moves.
Yeah, so the Boston Red Sox, they had a really good offense last year. Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, they all had monster years. Kike Hernandez was a really good signing. So they really didn't need like that good rotation, despite what I thought back then. Because Nathan Eovaldi had a good season, but other than that, in their rotation,
the Toronto Blue Jays. The reason why I have the Toronto Blue Jays at third is because Kirby Yates is out for Tommy John surgery. George Springer, I don't know if he's going to be ready for opening day. And it's just their starting pitching for me. Their starting pitching, like their ace right now, I don't really, after Hyun-Jin Ryu, it's kind of questionable because like Robbie Ray is hurt, Nate Pearson's hurt. So I don't know, it's like Tanner Roark. Their pitching is just too much of a question mark for me. And then second place, we got the Tampa Bay Rays, who made it to the World Series last year. For me, losing Blake Snell and Charlie Morton is really going to hurt their rotation, but I still got them in second place because Kevin Cash and that Rays front office, they know how to play the matchups correctly. They'll do like openers and stuff like that that would help them in the long run. So I got second place for them. First place, we got the New York.
Yeah, probably the biggest X factor in the Rays ending up winning the division was when they called up Wander Franco for them.
New York Yankees. I think the New York Yankees are just stacked when they traded for Jameson Taillon and they signed Corey Kluber, a former Cy Young Award winner. I heard that Luke Voigt is going to be out for a couple months, but I still think they have enough depth to get first place in that division because their lineup is just stacked. When you look at Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Clint Frazier, and yeah. So those are my grades. My standings for the teams. So yeah. Okay, guys.
So that was the video. Overall, I think my predictions were okay. Some of them I hit the nail on the head. Some other ones I didn't do so good on. So that was my video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Hit the like button if you'd like to see me react to my playoff predictions in a couple days. Other than that, this has been Ryan's Baseball Roundup, and I'm